Mother Knows Death. Starring Nicole and Jemmy and Maria QK.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mother Knows Death. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the latest with the vehicular homicide death of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. The defense team of Sean Higgins, the man who hit them with his car, is now saying that he was not legally drunk, so we'll get into that. Then we're going to talk about defamation on social media and how it pertains to influencers and how one case is trying to send a message to the world that it is not okay. And over the past couple weeks, there have been events and award shows that are now making us question if the heroin chic look is back from the 90s. Then we have a disturbing true crime case where a mother is being investigated for potentially using her teen daughter as a surrogate. And we'll finish up with the micro penis challenge. All that and more, get into your comments, questions, emails on today's episode. Johnny Gaudreau, Kate. I can't say his name.
It's a difficult last name if you're not used to it, but God, I feel so bad for this family. So the guy who's been accused of drunk driving and killing Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, he's now trying to prove he was under the legal limit when the accident happened, and he wants the whole case thrown out.
So this is going to actually end up being a really interesting case that might change some laws and stuff, because if you remember back in it looks like it was back in February. Was it this year or last year?
It had to be last year.
It had to be last year, right? So in February, we talked about the actual limits because new information came out about the brothers as well. So the driver was 0.087 blood alcohol level, which is like a smidge over the legal limit because the legal limit is 0.08. So it was like 1/100th or 7/100ths above what it normally would be considered legal, right?
But still above.
But like a hair above, right? Then new information came out after the autopsies were done on the brothers that they were actually more drunk than the driver was. They were drunk bike riding. So Johnny's was 0.129 and the brothers was 0.134, which is significantly higher than what the driver's was. The brothers was really almost double of what the brothers or what the driver's was. So, but in the state of New Jersey, so this is going to be like a law thing versus what actually should be. But as of right now in the state of New Jersey, it's not considered illegal to ride a bike under the influence of alcohol. It's just considered disorderly conduct. It's not the same as driving a car legally drunk. So that was their first argument that they tried to bring up last year. And now this year, they're saying that, they're getting experts, toxicology experts and stuff like that. And they tested apparently just his plasma, which was 0.08, which is at the legal limit. But then they said they tested his whole blood, and when they tested his whole blood, it was 0.075, which would put him under the legal limit. So, like, legally, if he was not considered to be driving while intoxicated, even though if he said he was, like, if this blood test can stand up in court, I don't know if it can, because it is only, 5...
It's
thousands
just barely
of it,
under.
Yeah, it barely is, but it's under. It doesn't matter. Like, legally speaking, it's under.
But all right, like this is a question I have for you. So, like, for example, like some people are able to have a couple of drinks and feel fine enough to drive, right? But they might test over the limit. If I have one glass of wine, I don't feel comfortable to drive.
But that's you. That doesn't matter.
No, I know, but I'm saying if they took my blood, though, would I be under the legal limit?
Well,
even though I know
depends.
in my head I'm not comfortable to drive.
That's not what the law states, though. It doesn't matter. Like, the law has, like, let's say, for example, no one got killed with a car. If he got pulled over with that blood alcohol level, if it was 0.075, he would not get a ticket. He would not get a DUI. He wouldn't. It's legal. Because you're allowed to have a couple drinks and drive. You just are. So like, they're just trying to find a loophole to get his number lowered by a hair in order for him to be, because that would be a huge charge that fell off. Because right now he's charged with first-degree aggravated manslaughter, reckless vehicular homicide, leaving the scene of a fatal accident, and tampering with physical evidence. So he could face up to 70 years behind bars if he's convicted on all counts. But I'm not even sure that they would be able to charge him with first-degree aggravated manslaughter if he wasn't legally drunk. So, not saying he could, because he did leave the scene of the accident and he did do all this other stuff, but like, the biggest charges are resting on that he was drunk while he was driving. And if they take that blood test into consideration, it's going to be a huge change for this case.
No, totally. And I really understand pointing out that the brothers were also drunk, but like, he still was also maybe drunk or intoxicated on some level and still hit them, resulting in their death. So like, what happened the day of was they're saying another car slowed down because they saw them on the bikes, and then this guy decided to pass that car and then hit them in the process, and then drove down. He like left the scene completely. So it said he pulled over a quarter mile down the road, and that's where cops found him, and he admitted to the officers that he had 5 or 6 drinks.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't matter though, what he said.
No,
Because
definitely,
he could have
but, like,
and it was in the morning, correct?
No, it was the night before. I feel like it was like late afternoon or early evening, the night before their sister's wedding. I think it happened right before Labor Day weekend, maybe, or the weekend before. It was right around like late August, early September of 2024.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, it just could be a difference between guy was driving like a jerk versus guy was drunk driving.
But he still killed them is what I'm getting at. So like, I understand they could get the bigger charges thrown out if they could prove he was actually under the legal limit, but like, he still was driving recklessly that resulted in their deaths. So like, he can't have the entire case thrown out. They just need to come up with a new set of charges.
People have vehicular homicide all the time, and they're not under the influence, and they don't go to jail for it. It just
Not
depends.
even manslaughter or something?
No,
like,
it just it depends on the situation. Everything depends on the situation. Like, there was a witness who said he saw them. Did the witness say that they were swerving into the road or this or that? Like, there's so much to go on. But like, we know that they were drunk riding a bicycle. So, and maybe that needs to be taken into consideration, because if you can't drink and drive at that level, you can't really ride a bike straight at that level either. But since the guy did illegally pass, he definitely will probably, I assume that he would be getting charged with that, because he did break laws. He illegally passed and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like you or I just innocently driving down the road going to Target,
What,
and like this bicyclist just comes out in front of you and they die, right? Like, this guy was driving like a dickhead regardless of whether he was drunk or not. So like
driving on Route 130, and like, anybody that lives near me knows that this happens. There is a nursing home on Route 130, which is, it's not a highway, it's a 6-lane, like, what would you call that? It's not really a highway, but it's fast, and people are driving anywhere up to 70 miles an hour.
It's the worst road. It's a major
road. It's a bad road, and there's accidents on it all the time, because I guess at times and at certain points people drive as fast as it's a highway, but it has turns, not like exits. It has like turns, like turn in the parking lot of McDonald's, like off of the side of this road. So you have people coming to a complete stop. So anyway, there's a nursing home on Route 130 that, like, I don't know if it's nursing or assisted living, whatever, lets the patients out in their jazzy chairs.
No sidewalk.
No sidewalk. And they're in the
road.
middle of the road, going from like one store, parking lot to another. And there's been multiple times that I'm just like, why did I just have a near miss with somebody in a jazzy chair that's like old? It's just the weirdest
But
thing ever.
this is the big difference I'm talking about. It's not like you're innocently driving down the street and someone on a jazzy just all of a sudden wings it out of this driveway and you don't see them, right? Like, this guy still did something wrong, whether he was drunk or not, that resulted in him hitting them and them dying. So, like, he can't just get off scot-free. He needs to have some type of responsibility in this for still driving like an asshole.
Well, and I don't even know that this blood test will hold up in court, but
Yeah, like,
it might. I don't know. They're gonna have to have, some kind of toxicologist state that why this is different than this, and that's definitely the case when you're testing someone for substances, that it presents differently in different, if you do vitreous fluid or blood or tissues, like, you could get different levels. So in these particular cases, they might say no, like, the blood alcohol level for the state of New Jersey is based on plasma rates, and then the guy's beat,
Yeah, I mean, where it stands now is the prosecution basically has to agree that the test was wrong or incorrect, and then he, I think, will then be eligible to face a new grand jury to determine a new set of charges, basically.
Yeah, which are going to be significantly less, I'm telling you.
Listen, if that's the case, it is what it is. Like, obviously, as like a huge hockey family in my household, this is devastating, but like, I can sit back and analyze the whole situation and be like, if that's the case and he really was legally under the limit, I like understand where the charges are coming from. But I think this guy has had this cockiness this whole time. I mean, remember when this first happened and they told him he had to stay in jail the whole weekend and he like rolled his eyes on camera? Like, you just killed 2 fucking people. Like, what are you talking about? Like, sorry that you're inconvenienced. It's just insane to me. And then, like, the timing of this, I just feel so horrible for this family, because it's like, they already went through this great tragedy. They lost both these brothers. It was the night before their sister's wedding. Like, how horrible of a scenario it could be. And then his number one dream in life was to be an Olympic hockey player. So when the Team USA just won the gold medal, they like held up his jersey. They brought his kids out. They flew the whole family out to watch the game. And then like 2 days later, this this new bomb drops, and it's like, can you give this lady a freaking break, please? I feel so bad for their wives.
I mean, that's what happens in general when any tragic death happens, that people have to keep. I mean, think about, well, the next case, we're going to talk about the Idaho murders, and it's just like, think about all the shit. Like, every week it's like something comes out and just like rehashes it for them, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. I mean, I was thinking about this, about Nancy Guthrie as of right now. I mean, we're not even going to talk about that case because like nothing has really happened, but like, let's say that was just a random robbery, right? Like, how unlucky are you to be breaking the law or being some kind of criminal and so happen to hit someone that's like of such, like, that's so well known? It's the same with this guy. Like, if he just hit a random person riding their bike in that town, like, it wouldn't even barely be on the news. It's like what terrible luck do you have that you so happen to do this, and it's like super famous people in that particular circumstance that you just explained.
I mean, yeah, because it's like, take away this whole Olympic thing. Like, he just signed like some record-breaking contract right before he died too. He's considered one of the best players right now. And like, let me tell you, I'm like in the middle of a bar in New York City, and they pull the kids out in the jersey and just start like crying. I'm like, this is so horrible. Did you also just see, speaking of drunk drivers, that Justin Timberlake is like just filed something trying to have the police not release the body cam footage of his arrest?
I did see that, and I was like so excited about it because it has to be really bad if he doesn't want it released, and like that will make it really good for us. Really
yeah,
good
and
TV.
He's like worried about it ruining his reputation. Like, don't drunk drive. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know.
He probably did that whole like, do you know who I am thing,
didn't he do something like that? They were like, didn't he mumble something like, this is gonna mess up the tour, and the cop was like, what tour? And he was like, the world tour. What a douche.
All right, let's get into this TikToker that falsely accused a professor. So this is like same with the Nancy Guthrie thing. This is setting a precedent that you can't just make up shit to get clicks because you could get in a lot of trouble.
No, I think this is a pretty groundbreaking case. So a couple weeks after the Idaho murders, before we even knew about Koberger or anything, which side note, like I think people keep comparing this to the Nancy Guthrie thing, and it's like I don't think I don't think it's going in that direction where they've known the whole time. It doesn't really look good. Right? But remember we had those couple weeks where we really didn't know if police knew anything, but they were kind of on him the whole time. So whatever. So in this time frame before we knew about Koberger, theories were going crazy online about who killed the students. And this one theory that was put out by this TikToker was that a University of Idaho professor named Rebecca Schofield was responsible for their deaths. And fast forward to now that we know that this is not true, and it was Koberger, in fact, that killed the kids. This lady has sued the TikToker for defamation.
So this TikToker believes that she has psychic abilities and testified that she read tarot cards that led her to this professor to help her solve the homicides, posted photos of her contact information, and claims that she had an affair with one of the female victims and had ordered the death of these students. Like, listen, this lady's out of her mind anyway for just saying that shit out loud. And she actually, if she actually believed it, like maybe she needs to get looked at for having some kind of psychological disorder where she can't separate reality from whatever fiction's going on in her head.
And she was so confident in this defense that she represented herself. So she's like a total whack job. We know this. But like to think of her being on the stand, truly being like, well, I could read tarot cards and this is where it led me. So that's my defense. Like, are you joking?
I don't know, but like, so she's a TikToker, so I guess there's a possibility if she was getting a lot of views during this time that she made a shit ton of money, right?
Yeah.
So what did they award her? Like millions of dollars.
Oh, this is the best part. So like the woman, the professor only requested, I think she originally requested $1.8 million payout and then she revised it to $1 million payout and they left punitive damages up to the jury and the jury was like, okay, this lady's going to pay you $10 million. Think about the bad impression this woman made on the jury for them to literally make the amount 10 times more than requested.
So I'm assuming like, cause this isn't like, I mean, I don't know. I don't go on TikTok, so I don't know. But like, is she making that kind of money that she really could ever pay that back? Or this is going to be like the rest of her life whenever she gets money, like she has to give it to this woman. That seems like what it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know this woman's financial state, but like think about if she has a $10 million judgment against her, like anytime she goes to buy real estate or major purchases or whatever, like the money is going to have to go directly to the professor. But like, I think this is kind of awesome because people are going online saying whatever they want, no founded evidence, and they don't get in trouble for it. And in some cases, it ruins people's lives. Like this lady was describing that she had terrible anxiety. She developed PTSD. It made it really hard for her to go to her job. And she lost money as a result of that. And it's all because of these totally unfounded claims.
Well, can you imagine that though? Like that, especially before they found Brian Koberger, like you're going to school. I mean, she taught near there. Right? University of Idaho. She taught at the same school the students were going to.
Yes.
So, of course, you know, and listen, I'm going to say the same thing about Tommaso from the Nancy Guthrie case. Like, he was out there with Savannah Guthrie. The three of them were arm in arm yesterday out front of the mom's house for the first time looking at the flowers that were laid out and everything, and which in my opinion makes me think that Savannah doesn't think he's involved at all, and neither does the sister, because they were locked arm in arm like out front of the house, like in solidarity looking at the shrines that were put up for the mom. And that guy is forever, he's forever tarnished now. Like, all of the comments underneath are like, he looks like the guy in the video. He's the same height, this, and this. And I'm like, I'm pretty, not that I have the best confidence in this investigation, but like, I'm pretty sure they ruled him out. They returned the car to the family the other day. So like, now what? Like, that guy's always going to be looked at. What if this case never gets solved? Like, everybody for the rest of that guy's life is going to say that he was involved. And like, what if he really wasn't?
No, for sure. I think the difference is with like somebody like Ashley Banfield that released that information is like she has the source, and obviously she'd have to give up her source if anything legal happened to back her up and say where she got that. Like, we don't know, that source might work in that police department. Like, we just don't know who it is that gave her that information. But like in this case, this woman is saying a tarot card led her to this person and she made it up based on that. I mean, come on.
It's actually more alarming that people were like watching these videos and following along with it and even making this woman's life hell. I mean,
And-
like, what was the basis?
And like, not that this makes it right either, but it's not like she made one video about this that went viral. Like, she made a whole series of videos about this woman starting in November of 2022 when this crime occurred, and then continuing until August of 2025 despite getting a series of cease and desists.
Yeah, she's a moron. Well, remember when that whole thing was going down with Princess Kate and she was missing for a month, and those two girls were making videos every single day, like basically saying that her and William were getting divorced and he was cheating on her and all this stuff, and then she came out and was like, "Oh, I have cancer."
Yes.
I mean, but so like in those cases, I guess it's just how it's worded, because I feel like there's so many cases like that where people aren't getting in trouble for saying shit that's not true. Or maybe they just think that they're small potatoes and they don't want to do anything about it. But I know those girls were getting like millions of views over the course of those couple weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean, their page like seriously blew up, but then when it came out they deleted all of the videos to try to scrub it. But as we know, if like
you already got paid out for it, right? So it's like,
if the firm wanted to go after them, we know they could still pull up all the videos in the back end. I mean, I don't think people understand that things they put on the internet are literally forever, or like people won't have a problem outing you. Like, this is my personal beef with like those celebrity blind item pages, because you can write them an email and say literally whatever you want. You can call any celebrity you want a pedophile or say they did horrific things, and they just post it. And like, they don't care what happens to these people.
yeah, it's not cool.
I don't think
it
it's
really
cool either.
it really isn't. Like, if a rumor's made about someone that's like really not true, it's just not, because that doesn't go away ever, because there's always going to be a small population of people that think that it really is true.
Well, exactly, and that's the problem with this, because it's like, I've been saying this, like, as a nosy person, we established it before. Like, I'm nosy, I like gossip and everything, but after following like this one page in particular on Instagram for a full year, I was like, this is like going beyond like juicy celebrity news, and it's like kind of fucked up. Like, you're saying like a married guy with kids is like having sex with like hookers in a hotel room, and nobody knows if that's founded evidence or not, and they're just putting it out there as if it's fact. And that's what
Yeah.
I don't like about it. And then of course sometimes
But if it
the
is
thing-
true, it's very juicy.
it is, and that's a problem, because sometimes the things they post do end up coming true, and then the girl's like, "See, you heard it here first." Blah blah blah. Like, no, this is a problem, and you're probably ruining people's lives to some degree. I don't know. I don't like it. But-
Okay. So what about? I mean, we didn't really talk about this. Have we talked about Kelly Osbourne yet? We did on our YouTube live at some
We've talked
point.
about Kelly Osbourne a couple times on our YouTube live, because I mean, she's had this absolutely drastic appearance change since her dad died. Of course, at first people were attributing it to being on weight loss drugs. She's saying it's due to her immense grief. Her appearance at the Brit Awards over the weekend is seriously concerning to look at. I mean, people are like going after her, telling her she looks like a dead body and everything, and like, I'm looking at her as like, she needs help.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. You know what? It actually coincides with, so I'm writing this celebrity death book, and I was writing about Karen Carpenter this week, right? And for those of you who don't know who she is, or you're too young, in 1983, Karen Carpenter was a singer, and she had a little band with her brother. Not a little, a big, huge. Like I don't know. You call it a band or a group? It just was her and her brother, and I guess they had people playing other instruments too, if that was
Yeah, probably
necessary.
a band.
I mean, you know her songs. The Christmas song, the Merry Christmas Darling, is like a big one. But what's the one from Shrek? Top. I'm on the top of the world. I'm on the top of the world.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
I know.
So like most people know who she is if you heard one of her songs, and it kind of like it kind of unfolded in front of everyone's eyes, but nobody talked about eating disorders back in the late 70s and early 80s. So it was like people definitely were like, something's up with her, something's sick, because you get this like skeleton looking appearance. And in interviews, she said that she started off so she's 5'5" and said she was 145 pounds. And she always considered herself to be like a chunky teenager, which I'm pretty sure anybody listening right now is like, that's just a normal, that's considered a normal
Wait,
weight.
145 at 5'5"?
Yeah.
That's what I consider like real skinny
What,
for me.
yeah,
That's what I weighed on my wedding day.
Exactly. You're like, that's like my ideal weight. Oh my God. So 145 pounds. And then, so that's what she said. She was chunky. But like, if you do her BMI, she's within normal limits. So like she wasn't considered overweight or obese at that particular weight. But then over the course of the next couple of years, it's like she went on some extreme diet and went down to 120 pounds. And then next time you saw her, she was 90 pounds. And then at her lowest, she was 78 pounds. So like people saw it on TV because she performed live and on TV all the time. And but like nobody knew what was happening. And then all of a sudden, like she dies. She was super young, right? So they, going in her history and looking at it and finally trying to bring awareness to it and stuff, it's just like, oh, she went on these extreme diets and then she didn't lose enough weight. So then she started abusing laxatives. They were saying she was taking up to 90 pills a day sometimes.
Wow.
She started taking certain medications to make her throw up, which is actually what caused her, because it's toxic to the cardiac muscle. That's what caused her death. But just like the extreme malnutrition, the wasting away, like it wastes away your muscles, and it wastes away, eventually you'll start wasting away your heart muscle as well. So like I'm writing this up, and then I'm looking at Kelly Osbourne the same way. Like before her dad died, she probably was taking the shot. Like I don't want to say that she was, because I don't know, but she probably was, because she's always struggled with being what she would consider to be a little chunky, even though most people are like, that's just what she looks like. But we know that her mom takes it. Her mom has admitted to taking it and having a problem with actually losing too much weight and not being able to put it back on. That's what her mother said years ago. So now she possibly could have been taking it for this, but then all this stuff started going down with her dad, and he started getting sick, and then he died. Like it was like a boom, boom, boom. And now that we've seen her post his death, you're like, okay, this is like all these comments of people saying she looks old and she's taking Ozempic. Like it's far beyond her taking Ozempic at this point. Like she's having like full on cachectic look, malnutrition, anorexia, like, and like any medical profession looking at her is just like, oh my God, this is so scary for her. No, not making fun of her, just concerned. Like, I'm scared she's going to end up being like Karen Carpenter. Like, I don't know how tall Kelly Osbourne is, but she looks like she weighs under 100 pounds now. She's so frail.
Yeah, and
look
like
it up right now.
That's the thing. Like, she's slamming people criticizing her appearance, and I understand that. Like, in any world we could live, in any world we live in, we can be like, people should not be going on other people's Instagrams and leaving comments that say you look like a dead body. Like, it's unnecessary, right? But like, we've surpassed a point of her just looking thin and people calling her out. Like, we also can't just stand by and watch somebody deteriorate before our eyes and not say anything. I think I said this on YouTube on Friday, like, because we were talking about something similar. Like, people were criticizing Emma Stone or something for her appearance, and I'm like, I think she just is that thin, and she's always been that thin. I didn't think she looked that concerning. But, like, with Catherine O'Hara, for example, people on social media were like, I didn't even realize she was sick. I just thought she was on Ozempic, which, like, think about that statement, right? All these people are taking these drugs and looking sickly, that when there is a person that actually has cancer and is sick, it's not standing out to somebody.
Yeah, and one of the things that is bothering me about the Kelly Osbourne thing is kind of the opposite. When she just posted the most recent pictures, number one, like, I personally feel that she should have people in her life, stylists and stuff, that wouldn't put her. She was wearing like a tank top type of dress that really showed, her bones and her upper chest and her collarbones. It just makes it, and her back, and you could see her ribs through her skin and everything. Like, maybe try to cover her up a little so it's not so obvious with a longer sleeve dress or something like that.
Well, I don't think she thinks she has a problem, so maybe if she does have people off the
I think
side.
she does, because she's fighting back and saying, like, clearly, like, I'm going through something and I don't think it's right to go. Like, she knows something's up.
Well, this is another point I want to make too. Like, at the end of the day, whether it's right or not, you're a public figure and you're putting yourself out there by posting pictures of you looking like this and going to award shows, accentuating these new features on your body. Of course, people are going to say something. It's just the world we live in. So, like, I'm not
But
saying whether that's right or wrong. That's just the world we live in.
But why? I guess what I'm concerned is, why, when I go underneath her picture she posts, are there so many people that are telling her that she looks great and beautiful? Because that's what's really bothering me. Because from a strictly medical perspective, I'm just like, she's sick and needs help, and nobody should be encouraging this at all. Like, it's not about the way she looks. It's about
there's
her health.
trolls and then there's enablers, right? So, like, we live in this world where there's both. And, like, I understand there's people that want to be nice and people should be nice to her, but we should not be encouraging this.
And I think, like, you're right with Emma. Like, Emma Stone has always been a thin person. Demi Moore too, but she looked terrible to me. Just, like, terribly, terribly skinny. Like, there was another model that was going viral. One of the Hadid people were on going viral in a video this week too. And I'm just like, these people, like, are really, really, really thin. Like, why are we so extreme? Like, it was just like, everybody was supposed to be obese a couple years ago, and now it's like, oh, let's go in the complete opposite direction. And now everybody is like, how often do you really see, like, actors and stuff that are just kind of, like, normal, that might have a gut, like, might just, like, what you see in the general population all the time? It's just nuts.
You don't, and I guess that was a lot of the argument, like in that America's Next Top Model thing, for example. I know you watched it over the weekend. We didn't talk about what you thought about it, but I think they were trying to point out, like, that's just the fashion industry, and, like, to some extent, like, it is, but we just live in a very different world than we did even 20 years ago, you know, the way we see body types.
Yeah, so, I mean, I hope, I could just assume that Kelly Osbourne, I mean, she's got money and resources. I don't think she's not going to go to all these shows, because they're all, like, it's a lot of pressure because her dad's getting all of these awards and honors and stuff, and, like, she has to go. Like, she's like the face of that brand and that family, but I just hope that they're trying to get some kind of help for her. That's all. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't want to see what happened to Karen Carpenter happen. I mean, with Karen Carpenter, it was different because it was the early 80s, and her people were going to her parents and telling them to get help, but back then it was just like, oh, you only go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist if you are crazy, in quotes.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, this is like a legit medical disorder and mental disorder, and you need to get help for it. So, and you could see, like, the death of her dad is a huge deal. He's like her whole identity, on top of being like this loved person. And I mean, you could see why it would be like eating away at her. You know what I mean?
No, and that's I understand what she's saying. Like she has immense grief, and that's affecting her, and I understand that 100%. But I'm like, you can't just let that consume your whole life. Like at some point, if it's making you unhealthy, you have to address it.
You know what? Actually, one of my friends that I used to work with, this kind of happened to her. Like, her dad got diagnosed with cancer, just diagnosed. He's still alive, by the way, and this was 20 years ago almost. He got diagnosed, and she, like, went down such a rabbit hole about it that she started, like, losing a lot of weight and not eating and just coming into work, like, looking like she hadn't taken a shower, brushed her hair for a couple days. And like it really really affected her, and it was crazy to sit back and watch it and just be like, yo, he's gonna be all right, dude, just like relax, just like sometimes people just, you can't talk to them and just make them feel better about it. They're like convinced. I mean, in her case the dad did die, but sometimes it just triggers stuff that maybe she wasn't really ready to handle. I feel like he was saying, they were saying that he had this diagnosis of Parkinson's and stuff before he died, but maybe they weren't quite ready for it, how it went down so fast. And that's what's putting her into this. I don't know.
It's hard to tell. This episode is brought to you by The Gross Room.
Guys, so this week's high profile death dissection is on Winter Olympic injuries and deaths. That was a very interesting one, especially we talked about Lindsey Vonn a little bit on this show, and we really go more into depth about like that actual injury she had before she got the really bad one and what that looks like, and then what the really bad injury looks like, what the treatment is for that, and why she was at risk for amputation. But we go over a lot of different Olympians that have, I mean, the what is it? The luge, is that seems to be like the most dangerous one. It seems.
That one's really scary. And then just this like weird plane crash curse with the U.S. figure skating team. There's a lot going on in the post, but yeah.
And of course, the frozen penis. A frozen penis is always a good time.
Very unusual frozen penis injuries in there as well. It was really fun to write about, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
And we also have a really good post called Upside Down, which is about a person that was smothered to death and what we look for at autopsy to determine that. So check out that, all that and more in the Gross Room.
Head over to thegrossroom.com now to sign up.
All right, I can't even believe this story.
All right, so police got a call about a possible sexual assault of a 14-year-old girl at an apartment building. They get there and find this girl is pregnant with twins. And now they're investigating whether the pregnancy was the result of a sexual assault or if the mother was possibly using her as a surrogate.
The mom said to police that she desperately wanted to have siblings, but she said that she would not allow her boyfriend to have sex with the daughter.
And the mom couldn't carry any more kids, but really wanted kids with the boyfriend.
So, either way, this is messed up. Is she just trying to cover for the fact that he raped her and got her pregnant, and is just trying to say like, oh, she just wanted to carry the baby to get like a lesser charge or something? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because they're saying they're investigating if she was assaulted by the boyfriend or if they used an alternative method such as her being a surrogate, right? But like, how would they inseminate her themselves? I guess they have at-home insemination kits, so never mind. That is possible, but regardless, it's like it's still child abuse.
It's child abuse either way.
Still assault of some nature.
Yes, it 100% is. Like, so now this poor kid is 14 years old and pregnant. So they're her kids. She's pregnant with 2 babies now, twins on top of that. And now she just got taken away from her other sibling and her mother. So, like, cool. She's in Child Protective Services right now and pregnant with twins.
And due this month. Like, she's due very soon.
Like, cool. Really cool to induce on your child like that. So, I don't know, like, how they would even really prove and investigate this. Like, obviously, they're going to do DNA to see if the baby's his. And then if it is, like, how did it get in there? Because either way, like, this is just an unusual case, because I'm sure there's not even like strict laws written about this, because he didn't. if it's possible that he ejaculated into a cup and they inseminated her in that way.
It's still like in my mind that's still sexual assault, and even if like let's say the girl was willing to do this and admitted she was willing to do this, it has to still be considered some form of like statutory rape or like child abuse. I don't know how they would define this necessarily, but it's not okay.
She's 14 years old. She even if her mother convinced her that this was a good idea and she said she decided on her own to do it, like, she's 14. She doesn't get to make those decisions.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like there is no adult intervention in this whatsoever. They allowed it. And yeah, I do think it's this crazy story the mom's making up, but if it does turn out that they did some type of like at-home insemination with the boyfriend, that is disgusting.
It really is. It's so sick. And, not to mention the fact that a 14-year-old getting pregnant is actually it's not even as safe as an adult getting pregnant. Like, it could be dangerous. There could be all these sorts of complications with it. Pregnancy in itself is not like a benign condition that you're just like, oh yeah, just cool, just do this. It puts a lot of strain on your body. It can make your immune system like less compromised because you have your immunosuppression when you're pregnant. You have an increased blood flow, so you're at an increase of any kind of like a bleeding disorder or something like that. And it's just not good that she's been put into this situation. And on top of that, when you have a pregnancy with twins, you're at an even higher risk. So they really put her life in danger doing this, both physically and mentally.
And you're speaking about this as a teen mom yourself. So like,
well,
you understand what the toll it took on your body.
I do. I just think that this is like, it's just a messed up situation to put the kid in. And no matter what happened, I mean, I am really curious how, like, I would love to see the trial on this and see how they do it, because do they have laws of impregnating a child underage that wasn't through sexual penetration? Like, it's a weird case.
Well, yeah, they said no charges have been filed yet, but I'm wondering if that's because they're really like, what do we charge them with?
No, they have to wait for the DNA. Because, like, what if it's her teenage boyfriend? Then, like, it's a different story. Like, it's a nothing burger. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I don't know. The whole thing makes me massively uncomfortable, and I don't like this, and it always brings up the question: just how do people live and think this is okay?
I have another question. Who has the smallest micro penis in the world?
Well, this man in North Carolina, he's claiming he has the world's smallest penis at 0.38 inches, and he's challenging the world to see if anybody else is smaller than him.
So in the picture, he's holding up his pinky and saying his penis is the size of his pinky fingernail. And it gets smaller when it's flaccid. So that's like when it's erect, that's how big it is.
We talked about this guy on YouTube Live before, and at first I was like just so baffled, like, why would you publicly come forward with this information knowing the way the internet is and how people are going to make fun of you? But I do think he's trying to bring some awareness to having a micro penis, and I guess like I could see it from that perspective that he's trying to take away the stigma of it because it really does affect his life.
Yeah, and they say that 0.6% of the population has it. So it's not, I mean, it's rare, but it's not that no one has it. So, and if you're a man growing up with a condition like that, I think that it is good to bring awareness to it, because he can't have like penetrative sex. He's essentially like almost like female. Like he has to like,
or like Ken
he has to
doll.
like, I don't know what the proper word to say is to have sexual pleasure. You can't penetrate. It's like two vaginas rubbing together, kind of like.
Yeah, but he does. I wonder if I mean, I don't really know the dynamics of this anatomically, but I wonder if like.
Well, I'm sure he has testicles and everything's normal, except it looks like more like he has like a big clitoris rather than an actual penis. Like that's what it looks like. It's just a really small micro penis, like as it says. So he can have orgasm and stuff. It's just not in the typical way that a man does. Like you have to just do other stuff to it.
Yeah, and there's nothing he could do about this, right?
Well, this was what I thought was interesting about this. So this guy is 38 years old and said he's recently been diagnosed with it. why at 38 years old. Like, if this got diagnosed, which it should have gotten diagnosed when he was a kid, if he was given testosterone hormone, because that's what it is, it's a problem during development, that's some kind of a hormonal problem that it doesn't develop, it could definitely, I don't know that it would ever get normal, but it would definitely get a lot bigger and maybe even functional with testosterone introduced. But like, if you don't get diagnosed till you're 38 and you're already done puberty, like, it's over. Like, there's nothing they can do about it now. I mean, they could do surgery, like they do like trans surgery or something like that, but it's not going to be like an actual native penis and working that way like you would think. So I mean, I don't know why it took so long. I could see that he would probably be embarrassed or something as an adult, but I don't know why there was no one as a child that got that looked at.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see how this challenge is going to pan out and if anyone's going to come forward.
So a micro penis is considered anything less than 2.67 inches. And his is like not even half an inch. So, I mean, his is significantly on the smaller end. And I think it was kind of funny, actually, that he was saying that he was looking for Guinness Book of World Records to see, like, if there was a record of who had the smallest one. But he said they don't do genitals like that. But he also said that there's been, contests and stuff for who has the biggest one. So he's like, well, I want to do who has the smallest one. So
don't you just feel like this is such a sensitive topic for men? Like, if there is a person out there with one smaller, that they're actually going to come forward publicly and admit that?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe.
All right, on to your questions and emails. If you have a question or a story for us, please submit it to stories@motherknowsdeath.com. Our first one is from Jenna. I wanted to comment on the booger wall. As a mom of a 6-year-old boy, I do not understand how their wall got so big without notice, but a few months ago my son yelled to me after bedtime. This isn't unusual as he has many stall tactics for bedtime. But I went in.
Oh, it's not just my kids?
But I went in and he handed me a booger. I said, "Ooh, dude, I don't want that." To which he commented, "Well, my cracks are all full."
Ew.
Come to find out, he was putting his boogers in the cracks of his barn board wall for God knows how long. He has a bunk bed and sleeps on the top, so I couldn't really see them well, but sure enough, when I got up there and looked, the cracks were caked full of gross old boogies.
Oh my God.
I had to use a butter knife to get them out and lectured him and lectured him on how gross that is. I now check frequently to see if he's still doing it. He is, but not as often. This makes me really excited to have a son.
It's not just the sun, trust me. I see them. I don't have a wall, but sometimes I'll just like, it'll be on the pillowcase and I'm like, what is that? And it's always like a bloody one, like a gross, huge. And I'm just like, dude, like there's nothing else. I put tissues next to her bed and I'm like, could you just like grab one of these next time and leave? If you don't want to clean it up, that's fine, but just don't ruin your pillowcase. Like, it's disgusting.
Something about boogers, like, I could see someone's hand cut off and I'd pass out, but I could handle it. When I see or hear about boogers, I want to puke everywhere. It's like the only thing that makes me feel like this.
Well, I feel the same way. When I used to work in microbiology, we used to get sputum collection, which is like, it's not just stuff like, you ever have the flu, like recently, like anything like that, when you cough, like a deep cough and that stuff comes up in your mouth?
Yeah.
It's that.
Oh no, I couldn't deal.
And we used to
bodily fluids and things I don't want.
And it wasn't like, if you're walking up the street and you see someone spit on the sidewalk and it's just like a foamy pile of like white and foamy. No, this was like deep, like lung cough, thick, viscous, like. And when people have like weird infections too, it's just gross, like tinged with blood, smells, whatever. And we used to have to get a sterile swab and put it on a petri dish, right? So we had to like play with it with the swab.
Oh no.
And it just like grossed me out so much. And I'm just like, I would do poop and urine and stuff. It was like no other fluid grossed me out, but the sputum was just like seriously so nasty. Like, sometimes it had like chunks in. Ugh, I still think about it and it's disgusting.
Dude, it's like Ricky, I call them dinosaur boogers. Like, he just has the biggest boogies I've ever seen in my life, and like they just make me want to drop dead when I see them. Like, I'm like any anything else I don't want to see it. He just showed me a massive one he pulled out the other day, and I was like, I'm going to throw up all over the floor.
Men have like sometimes I look at Gabe's nostrils and I'm like, his nostril is like 10 times wider than my
I
nostril.
know.
I'm like, why is it so big? Like, what's happening up there?
I was like, are you not sick? And he's like, they just look like this all the time, and they have since I was a little kid. So I hope this is not like something getting passed down, because I really can't handle it.
Ew. All right. What
Next?
Is there another question? I seriously want to be like, ugh.
I know, I'm gonna puke everywhere now. All right. Next is from Sabrina. How often do you meet someone who thinks human blood is blue and not red? I have met several people, maybe 5 so far. These people are 40 plus years in age. They believe that blood is blue. My brother-in-law is one of them. He's a geologist, and his belief was that it is blue in the body and turns red once it's oxidized. Where are people getting this from?
I don't know. I've heard that a lot too. I mean, technically, your blood does change color depending on if it's in the venous part of the body or the arterial part of the body. So when it's in an artery, that means that it has oxygen and it's bringing oxygen to all of your body parts. So that's what you think of like a very bright red. And then when it goes through the venous system, so it's like after the the oxygen gets delivered to all the organs and it's going back to the heart and lungs to grab more oxygen, it turns a darker color because it doesn't have oxygen binded to the hemoglobin anymore. So sometimes, like, I could see why people think that, because if you have a condition called cyanosis or something, which can present in lots of different ways, you could see it on your fingertips, or you could see it on the lips, or you could see it in the head in some cases, like where the skin looks blue when a person's having like a lack of oxygen. Like maybe that's where it comes from, because their skin does look blue because there's a lack of oxygen in the blood. That's the only thing that I could think where it happened. But the only reason that people really think that is because they might have looked at anatomy charts and saw that there's red blood vessels and blue blood vessels, and they just think that the blood in the blue ones is blue and the blood in the red ones is red, I guess. Like I don't know where the cross is, but
Interesting.
there's that. Trust me, like I've been inside of every aspect of a body, and like even before it's exposed to oxygen, if you just make a tiny little hole, the blood starts pouring out sometimes. If someone had a bleed or something, it's always red. It's different shades of red, but it's always red. It's never blue.
All right, last question. Is there a certain family tradition you're excited to share with your son? I mean, yeah, I'm really excited for Christmas time this year. I mean, even though he's only going to be like 6 months old and not understand anything, like it'll be fun.
He's not going to understand anything for like 3 years.
No, totally. But like, I'm excited to bring him to like Phillies games, which is what we do every summer. I'm excited to take him to do all the Christmas stuff. Obviously, like my favorite family tradition we do is we see the Nutcracker every year. I think we're gonna keep that a girls only event probably, because like I don't think he's gonna be into it.
Because you know that Gabe secretly wants to go, and he I'm just like, you can't go. Sorry. I think he would like it though.
I think Gabe would like it too, but I'm like, I don't want to make him sit through a 2-hour ballet, and I don't want my 2-hour ballet ruined for me. So like, he could spend the day with his dad and Biscotti on that day that we're at the Nutcracker. But otherwise, yeah, like, I mean, I feel like I'm just excited for him to just do the stuff we've always been doing, and obviously it's going to be different because we've only ever had girls, but it'll be fun to create new traditions as well.
When do you think we have to start buying him a Phillies ticket? That's what I want to know.
I think you're supposed to when they're 2.
All right, well, you could push that to like 4.
But yeah, exactly. Like many of my friends have waited till their kids were like 3, at least 3 or 4.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
Almost 5, depending how small the kid is.
Yeah, I would just do it until it's not like you're gonna have a super huge kid. So like, let's just try to push it as long as possible.
Yeah, I think we have some time, and we could probably push it a little bit. How are they going to know? It's not like babies have little driver's licenses with their age.
Exactly.
But Game Changer is, I think you're allowed to bring a full stroller and diaper bag in there. So, like, we can carry
What?
anything now.
Oh, that is good. Maybe
Yeah.
a cooler full of fizzies this time. Will
Yeah,
they let
we
us
could
bring
have
that in?
a cooler full of contraband fizzies, all the hot dogs in the world for the hot dog whore. I sent Gabe
No, listen, I bought him a hot dog steam machine for Christmas, and I'm going to make like 10 hot dogs and just bring them in tin foil. I'm gonna get like a pouch that will keep them insulated and warm. The hot dogs at the game suck. They ruined it. They put them in first. They put them into plastic boxes so it doesn't get wrapped up with the foil that like helps keep the roll soggy and like it like steams itself in there.
It's
and
also
then
impossible to carry.
and I don't want my shit in like that much plastic like that. They're impossible to carry, and it's making a shit ton of trash. Like I don't really understand why they did that.
I don't understand it either. I sent Gabe that I was going to buy him this little onesie that had hot dogs all over it. So he thought it was pretty cute. And now he's made best friends with those hot dog people that own that store. So,
Oh God, yeah.
total
All right.
hot dog whore. All right, guys, we have our event coming up in just a couple of weeks in Horsham, Pennsylvania for the Center for Forensic Science Research and Education. That's going to be on April 10th and 11th. There will be a discount for grocery members to attend the event, so we're going to have that information up this week. So you guys can buy
and we're going to
tickets.
have a live Mother Knows Death episode, and I'm going to do a separate lecture.
And there will be guest speakers, TBD. So we will announce those once we know, but we're going to try to surprise you guys as much as possible. I think you're going to really love everybody that's going to be there. Please head over to Apple or Spotify and leave us a 5-star review and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have a story or a question for us, please submit it to stories@motherknowsdeath.com.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to Mother Knows Death. As a reminder, my training is as a pathologist assistant. I have a master's level education and specialize in anatomy and pathology education. I am not a doctor, and I have not diagnosed or treated anyone, dead or alive, without the assistance of a licensed medical doctor. This show, my website, and social media accounts are designed to educate and inform people based on my experience working in pathology so they can make healthier decisions regarding their life and well-being. Always remember that science is changing every day, and the opinions expressed in this episode are based on my knowledge of those subjects at the time of publication. If you are having a medical problem, have a medical question, or are having a medical emergency, please contact your physician or visit an urgent care center, emergency room, or hospital. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Mother Knows Death on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks.